What's the best use of AI today?
There are three major advantages to AI in marketing. The power of AI in that sense is huge for businesses that don't have massive budgets. You're not investing huge amount of money and time on one strategy that, in the old days you used to get presented. And this is probably what will be most evident in the next 3 to 5 years is less about we're losing jobs, we're just taking the busy work and really focusing on, wow, the amount of value open to small and medium business is enormous.
Well, while we're still on creativity, there's obviously constant noise around generative AI, what AI is going to do to the ads as we sit and record. And Maya Sims ads just gone to market, which is a AI driven ad, AI fully made ad. And it feels like constantly the talk about AI in marketing is related to the generative side. I guess the question I would ask back, knowing what some of the things we've been doing internally, is where do you see the greatest value for a marketing manager, a brand strategist, someone looking at positioning campaigns and thinking about, let's zoom in digital campaigns. What's the best use of AI today? Is it generative AI? Is it helping with research, testing campaign ideas? Where do you think marketers should be spending most of their time with AI?
There are three major advantages to AI in marketing. The first is around kind of eliminating processes that just take time. So whether that's writing ad copy and making sure that it sounds, good, or whether it's doing spreadsheets or analysis, that type of thing. So eliminating busy work, that's a key one. The second benefit is around creative iteration and testing. So you no longer now have to develop a perfect piece of creative for a campaign and that's it. Ad platforms will be able to iterate on backgrounds, change the ethnicities, change the individual in the photo, work everything around your product and service and test hundreds of thousands of different iterations of ads to find the perfect one. So that's a major win. We're still not quite there yet, but it's close. Then that'll change the way that you think about producing creative because really you're just giving a template and then allowing the ad platforms to do their best to find what the actual visual and audio works best. The third is it really democratizes marketing and branding for businesses that don't have huge budgets. So that aren't the major advertisers, that aren't the major players and have hundreds of thousands of dollars by giving effectively agencies tools to make them more creative, the ability to turn around projects for a brand that doesn't have a brand strategy is magnified tenfold. So instead of having 5 or 6 or 7 or 10 people working on a brand project, now you can have one or two. And you can test different versions of like what connects best with your target market. So instead of having like one brand strategy, why not have three and go to market and test out through digital means, like which ones are getting the best response rates, which messages are working the best. And then you can iterate accordingly. So you're not investing a huge amount of money and time on one strategy that, in the old days you used to get presented, here's three beautiful ideas, pick one and let's, put all of our efforts into that. That doesn't have to happen anymore. So for a small or medium business, the result is that you can talk to your customers, look more professional than you ever have before, and ultimately probably get better results than you'd ever be able to get otherwise. So the power of AI in that sense is huge for businesses that don't have massive budgets. And this is probably what will be most evident in the next 3 to 5 years is less about we're losing jobs, we're just taking the busy work, and really focusing on wow, like the amount of value open to small and medium business is enormous.
Yeah, it's a good point. I think at the top end of town, the advantage that they've got that I'm not hearing or seeing taken is if you've got constant research, if you've got constant customer insights, shopper data, whatever you've got available, is finding ways to feed that to the large language models, LLMs, to create synthetic personas. And I think we can finally move away from these, Happy Harry and Mumsy Marina, all of these personas that are developed again in boardrooms that people like the sounds of, and actually overlay that specifically with data that's coming through. But while this top end of town, let's say the marketing elite, aren't necessarily going all at that, it feels like a lot of wasted energy on the generative AI, which is just not quite there yet and won't be solved. It'll be solved inside the platforms. That's where that opportunity is. Not giving space and time to working on positioning and campaign testing. Everything we spoke about at the top here around how do you know that your idea is going to be effective? We're using the LLMs to have conversations, to develop maybe some AI agents or custom GBTs that are based on what are the gaps in the market? What are the brands saying? Feeding it data that you're able to, depending on how deep you can go in terms of your customer data and what your subscription levels are and things like that. But finding insights in what you're doing. If you're a mid-sized brand that's, referencing some global research that was done at the parent company 5 years ago, that's not quite the right research for Australia. This is a massive opportunity for you to lean in to find out what else is in my customer's world. What are some other insights, problem statements? What are their fears? What do they hope to get out of it? Ultimately, our point of view is that the brands that are most successful are the ones that can create a way to tell their story that connects with their customers. And if we think about, let's fast forward, as Duncan said, 3 to 5 years, everybody's now got the same media buying, generative AI opportunities. What is going to stand out your brand from another? It's not going to be that you generated the ad with AI. It's going to be what you fed it. It's going to be the input, and that's going to be hugely human driven from prompting to get those insights. So if you're a brand now in this next 1 to 3 years that can get really, really good at positioning and testing positioning and feeling very agnostic to, okay, here's our overall positioning market. Here's what we want to communicate. What's 20 different ways to say this? You're going to be well, well ahead of the game. And I think there's big opportunity right now for agile marketing teams and agencies to make that shift.